Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I kind of wanted to make my top 10 point guards of the season this year before the Through the Wire team basically came up with their answers, just because I mostly get influenced by other people and their decisions. I kind of wanted to start off and influence myself first, I guess. So I know a lot of these guys are not going to be different places, but this is just my opinion overall of what I think is the best 10 point guards of the season. I even took an account of playoff, even though I don't probably have some playoff statistics pulled up, because they either didn't play or some of them just didn't play enough. But yeah, it was kind of hard a little bit this season, just because so many players, so many point guards in general were just so crazy. I'm gonna be making all the positions after this probably. But yeah, I kind of wanted to get started with point guards and go from there. So I have three honorable mentions for each position basically. So my first honorable mention, the guy who I left out, who should probably replace Mike Conley, if I'm being honest, is probably Trae Young or Marcus Smart. He might replace either one. But Trae Young, I totally forgot about him. I don't know how he skipped the list. He probably isn't the replacement for Mike Conley. Sorry, Mike Conley. But Trae Young is... sorry if you haven't gotten to the end of the point, basically. But yeah, Trae Young probably didn't have as great of a season. Still got about 2 games off of the Celtics in the first round. And beat the Heat in the play-in. So congrats to that. But I know Trae Young has not been good this season. I think it's just more because both DeJounte and him need the ball all the time, and they just kind of trying to figure it out. But I mean, this season, if they get rid of Clint Capella and all this, I'm sorry, I'm gonna ramble. I'm rambling. But yeah, Trae Young probably should just replace Mike Conley and Marcus Smart at this point, because he was still good. I know he probably scored like almost 30 points, and like I know he's second in assist percent, or just assists in general, assists per game. But yeah, he definitely should be up there. Sorry for not putting him out there, Hawks fans or anybody, Trae Young fans or whatever. But yeah, he definitely should be up here. Sorry, my bad. But this is just part of making mistakes and being human and all that other stuff. Second shout out was Jrue Holiday. So he averaged about 19 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 58 true shooting percentage from the season. But what really kind of made him fall out of the top 10 for me was just his overall playoff performance, especially with Giannis out and him being in the first round trying to guard Jimmy. It just did not work out in the long run for that, and his age was kind of showing. So it was just kind of sucked to see him like that, and he wasn't shooting as well too. Yeah, he went from 19 points throughout the season to almost 18 points. He averaged more assists. He did average more rebounds, but his field goal percentage went down significantly from 10% and 7%, or almost 8% from the field goal. And also, yeah, 85% from free throw line to 70%. Yeah, he just kind of fell off in the playoffs. And these are just stats, I know that, but just from going off what I saw, just him trying to defend, they almost had everybody on Jimmy, even though Jrue was supposed to be the primary defender, or even Giannis or Brook or whatever. But I know Jrue was mostly the primary defender on Jimmy, and he just kept scoring on him. I know it's more of it's still a team game, but still, it just, yeah, when you're the guy handling business on Jimmy and he's still scoring on you, yeah. And then the last honorable mention is Tyrese Halliburton, which I did not expect to see this year. I know in NBA 2K22, there was a lot of most improved players and all that stuff, but I was just like, it's just 2K being its own thing. But he's made a significant improvement this season, man. This year it was almost, it's not like anything crazy. He went from Sacramento to Indiana last year, and he averaged it is from 13 points or 15 points last year to 20 points, 10 assists, and 3.8 rebounds, or about 4 rebounds. 49% from field goal, 40% free throw point for 3-point percentage basically, and then 87 from free throw. I know he didn't play in the playoffs, but man, this guy was just phenomenal. First time All-Star this year. Congrats on that. Still a young dude. So I expect a lot of things coming from him and the Pacers throughout the next couple years. He was just an awesome floor general, and just he reminded me a lot of Lonzo in the sense where he had some good defense and not as good as Lonzo, but some good defense and could space out the floor very well when he needed to and made the right passes. I mean, we all know that pass where he went driving in and he passed out to Andrew Nembhard from at the Lakers Stadium or the Crypto.com arena. But yeah, so he just makes the right passes, he does the right things, and yeah. I know he would definitely be in a lot of people's top 10 this year too, but again, it's just more he's a little bit younger, and these guys did prove themselves over the season. You may disagree with me again, but this is how I see it. So now, officially getting into the top 10. Number 10, Marcus Smart. And a lot of people are going to be kind of pissed with Marcus Smart being either this low or this high, considering all the different players in here. But I just felt like he was a presence that, even though his stats shown right here, 11, 3, 6, and 54% true shooting throughout the season. I mean, throughout the playoffs, he got better, almost 15 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Not the assists not getting better, but he played significantly better throughout the playoffs. I know against the Heat wasn't as well, and I know against the 76ers is a different deal with them trying to guard James and all that. It was just, but he still played well for what I think. And even though he's now traded to the Memphis Grizzlies, I think he's going to become a great leader in the locker room for the Grizzlies now, especially with what's happening off court. But yeah, it's just becoming great for the Grizzlies now that they have him. I'm happy that he served alongside the Celtics for as long as he did. And yeah, I just can't. I know he's getting a little older now. He probably won't be the same guy he used to be. But yeah, he's top 10 for me. Next guy who made a significant jump and we never expected it. And he got so much money that we thought he didn't deserve it too. Jalen Brunson, man. He deserved all this money. And wow, I honestly did not expect this jump to be almost an all-star, all-NBA type caliber player. I know he's kind of snubbed from all-star, and so was the guy ahead of him. Or not ahead of him, but a couple steps or a couple numbers ahead of him. I know he was just great for the Knicks, man. He was just that guy that the Knicks desperately needed for a very long time. The Knicks fans will say, just, man, it was so great to see Jalen Brunson, like, just improve in his role without Luka and just keep succeeding. And even having his dad as one of the coaches there probably did help too. Also, Josh Hart coming in during the trade deadline. But even still, like, everyone is this, like, just wow. Knicks fans were like, what the hell? They're disowning him basically. Regular NBA players are like, who the hell is this guy? And then hardcore NBA players are just like, man, why are we even giving this man this much money? Like I said earlier, why is he even getting this much play time? This guy should not even be doing this type of stuff. Proved us all wrong. 24 points, 3.5 rebounds, 6 assists, and then 60% true shooting throughout the season, and makes significant jump throughout the playoffs. Almost 28 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist again. I know he was having the ball in hand most of the time, but even with him being the underdog, him and his team being the underdog against the Cavs, they pulled out and then also had a great series with the Heat. I know they lost in 6, or I think it was 5 actually, 5 or 6, but still, I mean, they pulled out a great time again, or just a great season. And overall, the Knicks were supposed to be playing at least, especially with this acquisition. But man, I'm rooting for this guy now, and I expect to have a bigger role, and he's been having a bigger role throughout this whole season. But I mean, congrats to Jalen Brunson, man. He's just the guy that you desperately need in these type of situations for this type of team too, who could just make lob threats or make lobs to the right type of people, especially Obi Toppin or Mitchell Robinson, and then make the right pass to even Julius Randle or RJ Barrett and all that, or even Josh Hart, who's in the corner missing most of the shots. But either way, yeah, you know what I mean. Just overall great player that the Knicks picked up, and yeah, I love to see. Yeah, I love to see it. And John Morant is my next one. And I know a lot of controversial things about him right now, but still overall great player. I know he played through injuries throughout the playoff too, or the first round, I guess. He only played the 5 games, but I mean, he kind of dropped off in a sense in the playoffs. But that was again because he was injured, but throughout the regular season became the number 2 seed. Yeah, just overall a great player, and I know he scares us with his flying ability, basically, where he goes flying off the court and stuff. But I mean, he's just a great NBA player, and not really nothing else to say. Even though he does score a lot, he still gives out the assist that he needs to players that need it, especially like Desmond or JJJ or even Steven Adams, even though he's mostly injured throughout the season too. But I mean, he's still a great player, and throughout all this controversy and all this other stuff, basically, I just can't wait to see. I hope he just becomes a better person throughout all this, and I hope he after the 25 games being suspended, that he does become a better player as well, and he just learns from this. If I'm being honest, I don't expect him to basically just come back next week or something like that and just be like, oh, I'm a different person. No, man, this takes just months and time to just kind of figure out yourself in a sense, especially when you are getting rid of friends that you never had before and stuff, or getting rid of friends that you've had for such a long time. Basically, it's just a different lifestyle now for him, and I hope he gets better. Next person ahead of him, James Harden. I know you guys would probably have John Morant over him or anything like and stuff like that, but I mean, the guy led in assists this year. Oh shoot, I totally left off someone. I will tell you at the end where I left off. But yeah, James Harden, he was such a great player. Wow, I can't believe. Yeah, sorry, such a great player for the 76ers this year. When Embiid got hurt or anything like that, and Harden just took one for the team and kept going for him. And I know a lot of people have negativity around him, but I mean, throughout the playoffs, he even showed that he could be the MVP type of caliber player that he used to be. And I was like, damn, this guy was like just prime James Harden again. But that was only for like 2 games, maybe even 3, I think it was. And it just, it's just time is catching up with him at this point. And I know he has 60%, almost 61% true shooting. Still, it's just, and yeah, it's just time's catching up with him. He always doesn't make the right plays, but it's just this man. He's still going through it. He's still going at the rim when most people wouldn't, or not in the playoffs though. But he's still going at it, man. Like almost, I don't even know, like almost 35 years old or something like that, or past that, and he's still a great player in the league, top 10 type of player. Yeah, it's just still great to see him when he does show out, and it does suck when he doesn't show out, basically. So, but yeah, I mean, I have him in the top 10 for a reason and all this other stuff. But next one for me is it's actually De'Aaron Fox, who significantly, I know we keep saying this, but significantly jumped up. And this just happened this year, man. Like, just so many guys just kept stepping up, or they were just injured from before, and they came back into who they were and all this other stuff. But this man, he's like, people were doubting him, especially with Tyrese Halliburton going to the Indiana Pacers, and they're like, oh man, we just gave him up, and we got De'Aaron Fox instead. Man, that sucks. But he became the clutch player of the year this year, man. Like, we were almost doubting the Kings, and they became the top 3 seed in the whole conference. Like, that's a crazy expectation. We were even expecting at least 9 or 10th seed, not, like just that type of area for the Kings, and for them to even jump that high and meet beyond expectations with this team. And De'Aaron Fox is mostly part of that reason, with 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists, 60% true shooting, and yeah, it was just, and went from 27 to 27 points per game in the playoffs, and 7 assists, 5 rebounds. I know he's not a great 3-point shooter, but man, this guy, like, every time you saw him, especially when one of the games against the Clippers, it was such an interesting thing to see where the Clippers came back and then the Kings came back, and this was mostly just because of De'Aaron Fox, where he just did his little pull-up mid-range shots and just kept going at it. And even during the playoffs, he did get injured and still kept going at it, and I commend him for that, for even going through the injuries. Same thing with Sabonis. But this guy was a true point guard in today's game, basically. And it was just an honor to see him throughout the season just improve. And I was like, and just keep just blowing expectations out of the water, man. Yeah, because I remember just people talking about the Kings like, oh man, this team's actually doing really good. And then I just kept watching it, and like, this is one of the funnest teams to watch, man. Like, they're the best, I think, offensive team throughout the whole NBA this season. And it was just an honor and privilege to see this man just work and do what he did. So yeah, it was great to see him and Sabonis and all the other guys play this year. So shout out to De'Aaron Fox for making it top 6 after probably not even making it top 10 last year for most people. And then the next guy, who's now, we're in the top 5, which very elite players now. And I know a lot of people are expecting one person to be here. And instead, I have a whole different person who I think people would have a lot lower, maybe in the 7 or 8, not even a whole lot lower, but 7 or 8 people around that area. But for me, and honestly, I should have probably put another person out of there and put the other person in there. But for me, I have in top 5 Jamal Murray. What do I even say about this dude? I know he didn't strike many people throughout the regular season. That was just because he kept getting injured throughout most of it too. Not most of it, but like about 20 games here or there. And then I had the luxury of seeing him in real life, especially, and Jokic as well, play, and just the whole Nuggets team, obviously. But I got to see them in real life play and stuff like that. Jamal Murray didn't have the greatest regular season stats: 20 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 57% true shooting. But the playoffs, man, is what did it for me, man. Like, this guy was giving out 40 points and 40-point triple doubles out like it was nothing, or just giving out 40-point pieces here and there like it was nothing. And it's just sweeping the Lakers, destroying the Suns in 6, just destroying the Timberwolves in 5. Like, this was such a great team to even watch, and Jamal Murray was mostly part of that too. Just a great scorer, just a great off-screen type of player. And geez, like, he was just a great player to watch. I don't have really much to say, because I mean, I talk about these guys doing all these different type of things, but he was like the point guard that wasn't even a point guard. He was more of a shooting guard instead, but he still played like a point guard and just got like the screens set for him. He's more like Steph Curry in a sense too, where he got the screen set for him. He just kind of waited in the corner sometimes, or sometimes he'd just bring up the ball by himself. And man, it was great to see doing his little pump fakes, or like his pull up mid-range shots, or just even his like his post fadeaways as well too. So it was just great, man, to see this guy play in live action. And oh man, it was I was so starstruck by him, especially when he was coming off his injury for the past 2 years, and he thought he was broken in general, and they thought they were gonna get rid of him. and for Coach Malone to say, no, man, we're gonna keep you. You're integral to our team, basically. And for Tim to show that this year and become an NBA champion, props to him, man. Props to him. Next player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Alexander. Sorry, my bad. But he became first team All-NBA, I think it was, or second team. But he became All-NBA this year, man. Like, congrats to him. Especially on a team that was not even supposed to be in the play-in or playoffs, too. Like, this team was supposed to be rebuilding. And Shai said in the beginning of the season, even when Chet got injured, no, we're still going to play for a championship. We're still going to go for it all. And they kind of did for the most part. I know they had some injuries here and there too, but most teams, again, they do have injuries. But he stuck it through and just kept playing and playing. And he averaged almost 31 points, five rebounds, and almost 6 assists, basically, on 62% true shooting, which is crazy enough for, like, almost, I think it's 3 years that he's been in the NBA. 3 or 4 years now. And now, I guess learning from Chris Paul, he learned so much that he became an all-NBA type of player. So, man, he's still so... A lot of these guys are even just still so young, and they're just becoming better and better each year. And it's great to see in the NBA now, because we always talked about, like, oh, once LeBron or Curry or KD leave, what happens then? But these guys are showing that NBA is in good hands, man. Like, these guys are just incredible. And we'll be fine. But I know they only played 2 games for the play-in tournaments, basically. He didn't really do well in that because they were mostly focusing on him, obviously, because he's the main scorer. And, in playoffs, it's just the defense becomes better, and they really focus in on the players that were the better obviously the better players in the playoffs. So, he kind of dipped in the playoffs, but it was his first time, I think it was, or not even, it was his second time, because he was with Chris Paul. But even still, just glad to see him and lead this team, be a leader in this team as well, too. Just, always saying, like, I know the Through the Wire kind of talked about this too. Hey, if we win, we post a clothing thing, or we post a fashion thing on IG, whatever. If we don't win, we're not posting anything. And for that whole team, I know we don't know what actually goes on behind the doors, or behind closed doors, but you could see that whenever they lost, they didn't even post. I know this is a small thing to most people, but this is like a big thing to probably them, where they win, they get to post whatever they need, like all their fashion stuff or whatever. And I'm not big of a fashion guy, but I'm more of the principle of, no, if we win, we get a reward. If we don't, we don't. Or if we don't win, we don't get anything. And that's what I like about that. It was that we win, we deserve it. If we don't, we don't deserve it. And I like that mindset of this team overall, and I like that Shai has that mindset. And I know this team is going to go well probably next year with Chet and who did they just pick up? I think it was Cason Wallace or something like that. Yeah, they picked up Cason Wallace and Keontae George, so they'll be fine next year. I wish they didn't pick up another big, but hey, they got Chet Holmgren. Sorry, but yeah. Next, our top 3 point guard of the season for me, Damian Lillard. And I know a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Damian Lillard right now, but he's still a great player. He scored 70 points this season. I cannot be mad at him for doing what he does. He had 32 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 65% true shooting percentage throughout the whole regular season, and he did not play this playoff season this year. He did not play in the playoffs this year, which kind of sucks, but it's whatever. But I mean, this guy is just one of the best point guards in the league, man. Like, he's one of the best scorers in this league right now. And he's kind of getting a little older too, where he's getting past his prime, but he's still, I mean, this season showed that he could still score the way he wants to, whenever he wants to, especially with the 70-point game this year. So, I mean, it's just crazy that we had 270 points even in general. But I loved Damian Lillard and see him, Shaedon Sharpe. And at the beginning of the season, they looked very promising and hopeful. But again, most teams who do that and don't, it's just more getting back into rhythm throughout the beginning of the season, and they just were kind of falling out of rhythm, whereas other teams were gaining momentum and all this other stuff. This team, I know Damian Lillard, not as many injuries as people expected it to be, but still enough where you're like, oh yeah, Damian Lillard's still getting old. But I just hope he goes on a better team. I know a lot of people are just like, oh, I'm done with the Damian Lillard talk and all this stuff, but he's still a great player to me, and I know a lot of people think that too. It's just all the off-court stuff is just getting really annoying. All the reporting, like especially right now, it's like almost every 5 hours there's a new report about him, and so it's just, I hope he deserves. I know he deserves better, but also he's putting himself in this predicament, and if he wants to be in this predicament, that's it. That's all I gotta say. So the second best point guard, even though he did not make the playoffs or play in or anything, has got to be Luka Doncic, in my opinion. I know he's not the. I know people will put him lower just because he did not make the playoffs or play in, but just his performance throughout the whole regular season, I could not put him. Same thing with Damian Lillard. Even though both of them did not make the playoffs or play in, I just could not put them in here because they were just overall great players this season. I really don't even. I know Jamal Murray should be probably higher for most people, but these guys are just my top point guards of the season. And I know this is stats aren't everything, but come on, 32 points, almost 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 61% true shooting. What are he how do you argue against this man? He put up a 60-point triple-double and won in that game where they actually were supposed to be losing, because I remember turning off the game. It was like, oh yeah, this game's over, and the Knicks should have won, but instead Luka hit from the free throw, or missed from the free throw, and then got the rebound and hit it back and just did that little weird dance. But oh my gosh, man. And that was one of the craziest things of the season. I'm so pissed I missed that. But Luka does everything that you need to do, man. He scores, he facilitates, he rebounds. He does all the things you need to do. I mean, defending, he could probably do better. But I mean, it's just everything a point guard should do and what you want them to do. And he shoots almost 50% from the field, and I know 3-point is not there because he just chucks shots. But when he does, for most part, he does make them. 34% is not telling the whole story of when he's just a volume shooter, man. He chucks that thing whenever he wants to, and I know this team is not very well put together too, especially with the Kyrie Irving trade and all that other stuff. But he's just a great player, and man, every night is just a spectacular night with him. Almost every night, I should say. And yeah, it just sucks that this team wasn't able to go in the playoffs and we were able to see them play and all that. So that's my only gripe with them. But I mean, number one, everyone probably knew this. It's Steph Curry. He scored 29 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 65% true shooting, or 67 or 66 basically. And then almost went to 30 points game in the playoffs, or 31 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and then 46, even though it's 47% for the field, still 47%. 30, I know 36 is not great compared to the 42 throughout the regular season for the 3-point. But I mean, Steph Curry is just Steph Curry, man. He's just been carrying the Warriors the whole time throughout this whole season, and even through the playoffs. I know during the Lakers series, he just did not show up basically, but I think he was just honestly tired, and that's probably no excuse still, because he shouldn't be. I know it's just age, being tired, and all that other stuff. But I know in the playoffs, especially I saw last year when I went to go see them against the Nuggets at home, or Nuggets home, that he just gets tired throughout these whole series, and he has nobody really help him. He has Draymond as a facilitator, but there's no scoring from him. Jordan Poole is supposed to be the scorer, but now he's on the Wizards. Klay Thompson is just not the guy he used to be. Andrew Wiggins is probably is only picking up the slack on the defensive end, and that's pretty much it. I know he's a great offensive scorer, and in the playoffs he did show that too, but he's just mostly picking up the part on the defensive end, where on the offensive end, I know he probably just like, oh, Steph will score and he'll be fine. And I know the Warriors team is now basically on its last legs and like on the last dance and all that other stuff. It's just I wish Steph Curry had more help for him and his team and stuff, but I know if they do that, if he does get more help, it's gonna just want him to go off the team because they're gonna have to probably trade Clay and Draymond and all these other things. So for younger players and better players. So it's just I know I love Steph to death, man. Like, well, he's probably my most hated player in the NBA, and that's just me joking around. But I love the guy. He changed the game forever, especially with I mean mostly for his three-point shots. But like he became like almost the face of it for at one point in time. Still kind of is in a sense, but I mean he's the face of the point guards, man. Like once you think of point guards in the NBA, you're immediately thinking Steph. Like I don't know what else to say other than it's just his team is not what it used to be now, and it sucks that he's being the one that has to carry the team. And I'm not saying it to be negative or anything like that. I'm not saying it like, oh, Steph Curry is carrying the Warriors and all this other teammates suck. No, I'm saying like these guys are just getting old, and that's not a bad thing. It's just in the NBA, when people get old, it's just a negative connotation basically, and Steph Curry definitely just deserves more love than he should, in a sense where he's starting to become like Dame, where he's now being too loyal to the fan base. But I know but yeah, I'm just honestly going on a rant at this point, but mostly to say Steph Curry is the top point guard of the season, and he deserves all the credit. We all know how he plays and all that other stuff, but yeah. I do hope you guys did enjoy this video. I know it's pretty long, almost, yeah, very long. But yeah, I just had to give my top 10 point guards, explain why and all that good stuff. But I should be making my shooting guards and all that other stuff in another video. It's basically not drag this all out. So I will tell me what you guys think about it. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video.